you may find yourself saying, wow, the world isn't only Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's more to it than that. The world isn't only, Wales and Great Britain. There's more to it than that. I wonder what that is. Welcome to Expat's Mental Meanderings, where we explore the meandering mind of prepats and expats around the world as they ponder how to make living abroad work for them. Today we have an interesting list we're going to look at. It's a list of 5 challenges that we may face in becoming an expat. Now, understand this is not a list of negatives. Lists of negatives don't make sense to me, right? Because one person's negative is another person's positive. And I can give you a list of negatives of you living your life the way you live right now, right? I mean, what does that even mean? But there are challenges to doing things. We want to talk about some of those today. And what's interesting is pretty much all these things, as so many of my lists seem to be, it's all about you, right? It's about me, understanding me and the constraints and the strengths therein. So let's talk about item number 1, exposure. I was on the way to work in Austin years ago, and I heard this guy on the radio, kind of a psychologist kind of dude, and he said something that just blew my mind because its simplicity was energizing and shocking all at the same time. He said, you cannot do something you've never thought of doing. Think about that. You can't ever do something you never thought of doing. It's so fundamental, so obvious, that it almost seems like a ridiculous sentence. So, perfect example of this is I own an education company, and we were debriefing these kids one time who were all at one time at risk, about to drop out, between 13 and 14 years old. School district and a company put together a program to remediate them, all 20 of them. 4 years later, all but one of them's going to college with this changed worldview and everything else. And I asked them, what changed, right? And I said to them, well, how are you possibly going to college now when a few years ago it wasn't even a thought? And their answer was amazing. They said, well, we never thought of it because nobody told us that we could. Think about that. Nobody exposed us to the idea that we could. And it's not like going to college is going to solve all their problems in life, guys. But their life course changed because someone basically told them, why not? You can do it. So exposure is huge in overcoming the challenge of becoming an expat. What do you see or imagine yourself doing? Item number 1. Like so many of my lists, things relate, right? So item number 1 relates to item number 2, which is friends and family. Why aren't you exposed to things? Well, who do you hang around? In our research, and I can tell you in personal life, the number 1 thing that gets someone to finally say, yeah, I'll be an expat, is meeting somebody just like them who's an expat. And they say, oh, I'm just like you. I could do that too. So the people that we are around and interact with personally and also online, the things we read, all that's association. What do we see? What do we put into our minds to make us think or see the possibility of, wow, I could do that. I really could. Item number 2, friends and family. Related to 1 and 2 is item number 3, worldview. Why do you see the world the way you see the world? Because of the friends and family I hang around and what I've been exposed to. And that's it. If you have the idea that perhaps I could go live somewhere else, do something else, it probably didn't come out of just, your imagination. It came from however your view of the world was formed, was shaped. And so if you have a way of expanding that, reading things, interacting with different people that you perhaps you have never interacted before, just to understand who they are and how they see the world, you may find yourself saying, wow, the world isn't only Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's more to it than that. The world isn't only, Wales and Great Britain. There's more to it than that. I wonder what that is. Perhaps you might go venture out and check it out. But these things are challenges, right? They're things we have to acknowledge exist in order to do something about them. Now, once again, item number 4 is related to the first 3 because it's also about our limiting our way of seeing something that's super important in this whole conversation, and that's our economics. If you're going to go live abroad, you got to fund it. You got to live. You have to have the money to do it, the income to do it somehow. So many of us understand how to make money kind of one way, and it kind of a function oftentimes of how we were raised. So, dad had a solid, 40-hour a week job, got paid every other week, and that's how you make money. That's how I know to make money. So how could I possibly be an expat? Expanding and understanding different ways to gain an income and getting comfortable with that is huge, right? This is why for so many people, when they think of an expat, they think of a retiree, money problem solved, a work expat going there with a job, or some crazy young digital nomad who is throwing caution to the wind and giving it a whirl, right? I'm not that. You could be, right? Any of those things. But also, there's other ways. Expanding your understanding of how to make money or how to leverage the funds you have is critical if you're ever going to do this. I've got friends who are sitting on $500,000 houses, $600,000 houses. They've paid off, almost paid off, got tons of equity, and they go, man, I wish I could do what you do. Are you kidding me? Do you know what $600,000 a year would do in a country like Ecuador? Get interest of 5, 6, 7% in some of the co-ops down here, and literally never have to work with the funds you currently have? I would say those things to them, but it just doesn't connect. You can't, how? $600 in where they live is, good. It's good, but nothing to, retire on. Over here, yeah. You can retire on, no problem. So once again, all of these things have to do with our exposure, our worldview, and all the people and things around us that affect that and manage that. So, gotta be aware of that. The number 1 thing I left for last, I put it at number 5. Because, well, the last thing you mention is the thing you remember the most. Guys, it's personality. It's you. Hey, I was born with a plane ticket in my hand. I just was. Doctor came out, I cried, and, I had a ticket to Spain in my hand. I just did. It's who I am. Sister's kind of the same way. Other people are not, right? They don't like change, scared of change, don't like uncertainty, gotta plan everything out, don't like to plan everything out. Understand something, I'm not saying that any of these things are wrong. You are who you are, and you are a beautiful human being. Yes, you are. But understand that who you are can create either opportunities or challenges for you to do certain things. And so the more conservative, the more anxious, the more of a planner you kind of are. All of these things you can use to your advantage. They also can be the very challenges that hold you back from ever doing anything that you would like to do. And never go on that, adventure. So take a look in the mirror. Understand and appreciate who you are. And if you find that there's certain parts of your personality that are the source of your challenges, well, work on them. Talk to somebody about them if this is something you think you really would like to do. So, top 5 things. Exposure, friends and family, worldview, your view of economics, and, well, you, personality. Take all those things into consideration. Give them a thought and see if, you can find a way to get out of your own way to make this expat life a possibility for you. So, next video, we have an interesting approach to this expat life, and we call it E cubed: exposure, education, and encouragement. What's that all about? Talk about it later. Next time.